I got two 2-foot by 1-foot tiles here propped up in a slight V, and I've waxed them a lot. Yeah, I'm making hydrofoils. I'm starting out with something really simple and easy to make, just to kind of get something I can test out and learn from. I don't really know what I'm doing right now. I put about a dozen layers of fiberglass on this thing, and the first layer was the full width here. And then as I went up, they got skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. So this end is fat and this end is skinny. So it gives it kind of a foily shape. Well, nowhere near perfect, but I think it might be good enough to test it, get some feedback, see if I'm on the right track. Alright, on my hydrofoil here, at least I hope it's a hydrofoil, I'm going to put 2 things coming up to the kayak. I thought about doing one in the middle, but I'd have to make it thick enough to be sturdy so the thing went blah. But if I put one here and one there, I can make them really skinny to slice right through the water. So this is them. And it's just, I don't know, 6 or 7 layers of fiberglass. 2 of them are the full width and the rest just get skinnier and skinnier, so that it'll end up being a little bit bowed. And I did a fancy technique to get a smooth surface on the top, which is just put a piece of paper on. This happens to be newspaper. Oh, that's so fancy. Oh, so fancy. Having 2 things coming up from the hydrofoil will also make it easier to attach to the kayak, because then I can just kind of bolt them on the sides high up on the kayak so it doesn't mess with anything, any smoothness below the water level. Blimey, that was some good thinking. I totally don't know what I'm doing here, but hopefully this will give me enough experience, information to be able to make some good stuff. I just need a little fiberglass on each of those corners to hold the thing steady so I can get all this stuff out and then really fiberglass it in there hard. So this thing is supposedly gonna, go under here and bolt in somewhere up here if I'm facing that way. And then up at the front here, I need like a little thing just to get the nose up and to keep that steady. I think that's just gonna ride on top of the water. I'm not gonna do anything super fancy there. And that's going to be this. And most of the weight will be on this thing because it'll be close to the middle, back a little bit just so I don't, pop a wheelie. And yes, I painted my kayak. I don't know. I think that looks about right. Well, I'm only putting holes up here, so if this doesn't work, I'm not wrecking my kayak or anything. Right, it should be easy to get on and off. I may want to put something through here into the other side, because it's a little wobbly right now. One of those situations where I need to do like a bunch of tests that probably won't work to figure out where the limits of stuff are, like what's going to work and what won't. When I get in my engineering head, wordiness goes away. Oh, taking some paint with you, are you? Great. Oh, it's on there pretty good. Right now I just have it tacked in place with a few drops of resin in there, and when that hardens it'll be solid enough to take it out of there and put some fiberglass in those seams. I think I do need to do something about this wobbliness. I think it's just too much. I'm going to put something through here and just tighten it against the kayak. I may need to make these thicker at some point, but I'm just going to try the first thing. I'm going to try putting this across the 2 thingies. It's just a steel pipe with a bolt with the head cut off, so the bolt fits inside the pipe, and then drilled through in a little pin, and so I can screw that on. Same thing at the other end. So I just need to make a hole. Oh, that locked that up pretty good. Now we'll add a little bit of resistance, so it might be a bit harder to get up on the hydrofoils, but once the boat's out of the water, this should be out of the water. Theoretically, I don't know if any of this is going to work. Oh man, you know, there are a lot of things I've built in my life that I wasn't sure would work. This has got to be near the top of that list. I don't know what's going on here. Alright, Jaimie. This is when I have to get out of technical design brain inventor guy mode and just go into test pilot mode. Alright, I've got whatever I've got here. It's my job to see if I can get this thing to go. I didn't get any video of that because it would have just looked like some guy paddling like crazy and not going that fast. Anyway, so first problem was this didn't have enough lift to get the front up. I was kind of hoping with this, it would just, yeah, I couldn't get going fast enough because it just had too much drag. So I need to change the shape of this to be more, you know, kind of more streamlined, reduce the lift, increase my speed. So, you know, at first I was just plowing through the water with this, not very fast, and this, you know, couldn't get up. But then I took this off and just rode with, you know, the rear thing attached. And that was significantly faster. So this was like most of the drag, easily. And I was getting up to sort of near decent speed. And I could notice the kayak lifting up, I don't know how much, like somewhere around there, that much, a few centimeters, an inch or two. Like if I could start paddling and then stop paddling and quickly put my hands at the side of the kayak where the water level was, and then when I stopped, you know, the water would be somewhere up here. So I was definitely getting some lift, but not enough to get, you know, of course with just the rear foil, as I get lift, it would actually get, the foil would get less lift because it would start leaning forward. So now, okay, there was another thing. I tried to make this pretty low and kind of far back in the kayak, but I was still hitting this with the paddle. Not all the time, but enough that I couldn't get like full paddliness without hitting it. So I think I'm gonna have to cut it off skinny, or yeah, maybe. And I think I also need to put the middle foil farther forward. Because I think part of the problem with this is that, you know, this is trying to lift the front of the kayak, and as long as I have the middle foil pretty close to the center of gravity, this doesn't have to do much lift. It just kind of has to get up and then get things steady. But since I have the rear foil kind of back a little bit, I mean, it's back about that far from the center of gravity. So, you know, as this is lifting, it's lifting the back and pushing the front down, so that I'd either need to make a real foil in the front, or get this thing centered so it'll take more of the weight. So that means it'll be more in the way of paddling, so I may have to cut off the sides. So I think the first thing I need to do is take this and actually smooth it out, like sand it. You know, sanding is like the worst job ever. The bottom is nice and smooth because that was against a tile when I made it, but the tops are not totally smooth. And it'll be interesting to see just the difference that makes. And then mount it closer to the middle so I can kind of get the center of gravity right on that thing. Oh, and obviously this is an issue I mean, I knew it would be an issue, but it makes the thing so rigid. So I might have to make these thicker so they're not so bendy. Or maybe I can put something on this to make it more streamlined, or maybe take this out and put something that's right up in the bottom of the boat. So it's kind of like along the kayak, because the kayak comes to here and kind of rolls up. So I have to make something that goes right along it out to the edge. It shouldn't be that hard. I might even be able to just hammer this flat and bend it. Put a hole a little higher. I don't know. I have a lot to think about now anyway. I'm going to have to play with changing the angles and stuff. I don't know. Right now I'm going to do something else though. And just let all that stuff process in my head. Because I really, like, before today I had like no experience with hydrofoils at all. And now I've got a lot to think about. Oh, one other cool thing that happened. The hydrofoil did make the kayak extremely stable. Like, not tippy at all. But I'm still not going to put fins on my kayak because I can also do that with skills. So I'm just going to continue learning kayak skills.